Hello everybody. So a little recap of what we did today. So it's nice if you're absent, I can go ahead and give a recording what we did. So today it's Monday 9/12, and first what we did is we talked about our graphs that we looked at from Friday's homework. Here was the graph of the Daredevil. It looks like this, and I've got it labeled the way I want it labeled with the correct units and the correct independent and dependent variables. We looked at something is fishy. Again, I have the correct units. I wanted to have everything labeled correctly. I've got my time in minutes and gallons of water drained. We looked at smartphone and it's curvy. We talked about the independent and dependent variable and having the right axes. Oh, I probably should have put time here. Time, and it's in weeks. See, I probably need to add this. And this is money, right? Money in dollars. And then the ski one, we hit the slopes. Again, you know, I wanted to have independent time in minutes, elevation in feet. I wanted really good axes, so this is what I was looking for. It's magic again. Number of cuts is my independent variable, and the length of each piece, and it is exponential. It gets smaller and smaller and smaller. I wanted to have the correct axes there, and then we looked at the baton twirling. And the baton twirling looks like this. She throws it up and it comes down. Again, feet is for height, and time in terms of seconds should be my axes here. Cold weather, we needed to have it negative degrees, so temperature was my control variable or my independent variable, and number of people. And then finally the jelly beans. So if you answer, we just made up a number. We said there's 500 in the jelly bean thing. Who knows how many are in the, we just said 500. And then it's guesses off. So if I guess 600, I'm off by 1. If I guess 800, I'm off by 300. And so then in our notes, we compared these. So we said, okay, well, what do you know? What do they all have? And we said they all have a start, and they all then move from left to right. Every single one of these graphs all have a starting point and they move from left to right. Okay, what are the differences? Well, some are straight and some are curved. Okay, that's the differences. And we said, okay, how do we know about the independent and dependent? Cordy said that the x-axis is always independent and the y-axis is dependent. I agree with Cordy. I did say instead of calling x and y, let's call it horizontal and vertical, because some of these graphs don't really have anything to do with x's, time and elevation. So we said, well, let's just call it horizontal and vertical axes. Independent on the horizontal axis. Vertical is the dependent axis, okay? Then we analyzed and said, okay, what do some of these things have that we notice some increase, some of these graphs decrease, increase, some of these graphs decrease, some of these graphs increase then decrease, some of these graphs decrease then increase, okay? Then we compared some of them individually. So we said, okay, how can we compare cold weather to cell phones? Okay, so cold weather to cell phones. Here's cold weather, it looks like that. Whoop. And my cell phone looks like that. We said, well, what's the similarities? They're both going up. And what are the differences? One's curved and one's straight. If we're going to compare fishy to magic, something's fishy to magic. Again, what's the same? They're both decreasing, going down, decreasing, going down. But we notice that one is straight and the other is curvy, and that's what we saw as the differences. And then finally, baton twirling and jelly bean. Baton twirling and jelly bean, those two look like this. Baton twirling and jelly beans, we say, well, these are different. These are the same because they either increase, decrease, or decrease, increase. So they change. They both change. And then we said what's the same is they both have a maximum or a minimum called a vertex. Okay, so that was what we did in our notes as we compared these graphs. Okay, again, if you want to just pause this video and go back, you can. Okay, now then I had you guys come up with your own situation. So you want to write. This is one I made up. I said, okay, Keegan jumped out of an airplane at an elevation of 20. So I made this up. This is one I made up. You got to make up your own. This is what I made up. The Keegan jumped out of an airplane at an elevation of 20 feet. After 5 seconds, she pulled the parachute and landed 30 seconds later. So my one looks like this. She's falling faster and faster, hits the parachute, and gradually comes down, okay? And then some of the things, that's my starting point at 0 to 20,000. We know she pulled her parachute at 1,000 feet and then floated down and hit the ground after 30 seconds, okay? So the homework today for you is page 15 and 16. I want you to do all of page 15 and all of page 16, okay? And then that was it for the day. See you tomorrow.